Welcome to the Sid City Social Club for Tuesday, July 6th. We're glad you're here. All right, I think we're good to go. Sid, over to you.
Good to go. I'm out of quarantine. I've been in quarantine for 2 weeks and I haven't found a really good place to put my computer yet, except on the dining table. But that seems really uncomfortable for a couple hours. So I'm on the sofa and it's like a very fancy sofa. You can't really see it. And I'm in my new place. I can show you that. Little functional kitchen. And look at the size of these shallots. They're like, these are apples, they're shallots. Get out of here. Outside, it's just this amazing view. I think this is kind of west. I don't know if you can hear the traffic. And look at all this. I would never expect all this in Thailand. I just don't understand it because it's like Manhattan here. That could be Central Park for all anybody knew. And there's all this incredible wealth, but I don't know how they generate this wealth. I don't know what they do in Thailand. And then there's not so wealthy right down there. You can see there's like very little slum dwellings at the very back by the freeway, which I guess is everywhere. So lots of variety. And that's where we are. It's amazing, isn't it?
Very worried that you were going to drop your iPad over the
No. So yep, that's where I am. I'm very happy, and I'm very happy to have a little kitchen and not rely on hotel food. So I'm out shopping, trying to find things I can cook, trying to translate things. Most of the stuff I understand right away because I've seen it. But everything else needs a little help from the shopkeepers who think I'm crazy because, that's cornflakes. Cornflakes. Yeah, we have that in the West. Yeah, okay. But all good. So it's a birthday. We have a birthday amongst us today.
Yeah, 28 years ago yesterday.
Congratulations.
This wonderful woman gave birth to me.
Yes, it's both your birthday. We both have a birthday today.
I wanted to thank the social club for this last year because this has been the best year of my life. I've learned so much from everybody. Like if you're in my Discord DMs, I have you to thank for this being the best year of my life. And
I won't take this personally.
No.
She fed me this entire year. She kept me alive. This year has taught me a lot about unconditional love, because for a lot of my life, all of my life, this is kind of what I wrote Little Achievements about. So it's the thing of putting pressure on yourself to create something and to do something, and just that I basically been out of commission for the last 4 months. But the support that the social club has given me over that time has been equal to or more than the support that I'd been getting when I'd been able to do stuff. That's been very moving and touching for me.
Well, you are one of the communal pillars, the pillars of our communal personality.
I was watching last meeting, and I could deal with my mother saying, I write porn, that's fine. It's just your bathtub of compliments, I can't stop, please.
That's very funny. You do know, Amrita, that you do know we're going to obviously get you to read some of this X-rated literature at some point.
Sorry.
Your mom's face. Oh my gosh.
Chapter 1.
Okay. Should I start?
What I actually wanted to do was taking inspiration from what Daria did, just I think on the meeting we had just before the US election. She had a cake. I can't eat cake, so what I have is a candle, and what I wanted to do was everybody make a wish and we'll blow it out together. So yeah, everybody make a wish and I'll count down. We'll blow it out together. 3. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Lovely.
You know what? I would love everybody to unmute and tell me happy birthday because I
That would be.
didn't get that last year.
It's compulsory.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Thank you. I love having 100 people yell at me. That's lovely.
That's lovely. Happy birthday,
Thank
Elmi.
you. Thank you. Bye. Carry on.
It was lovely.
birthday,
Thank you,
Elmi.
Elmi. Happy birthday.
All right.
And you
we're
don't-
good- No, go
That's
ahead.
good. It's good. No, it's great. I was just going to let Elmi's mom off the hook for reading porn, but I might not.
Okay.
You know what? I think she probably would. It's
I
just
think
for the entertainment value.
And I also practice the voiceovers.
Oh gosh. Okay, we're gonna go talk with. I did not ask how to pronounce your name first. My apologies. But
That's okay. Icha.
Icha. Okay.
Icha.
Who is here from Indonesia?
Yes,
And you're
I'm
in
actually,
Southeast Asia.
I am Indonesian, but I am actually in Australia. Sorry to disappoint.
No, it's not disappointing. Both wonderful parts of the world. So yes, hello, welcome. Good to see you, Icha.
Good to see you, Sid. Okay, I am
When-
nervous. Okay.
When did you leave Indonesia? When are you or are you
Ah.
on vacation in Australia?
Oh no, I've lived here. I'm a fossil now. I left Australia. I left Indonesia in 2003 for a master's study in a university here. I'm in a place called Townsville. It's in Queensland. So I left Indonesia for a master's and then a PhD. And then I met my husband here. But then I had to go back to Indonesia because my scholarship dictated that I have to go back to Indonesia for 2 years. But
Yeah,
that's fine.
got to finish what you started. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then, so now before COVID, I went back and forth Indonesia, Australia to do my research. But now I'm here because of the whole situation.
Absolutely. And so you know a lot about where I am because it's a very, very similar, certainly geography,
Yeah.
similar climate, similar
Yeah.
land,
Yeah.
and similar culture. Wow. So what was your scholarship?
Oh,
What
I
was-
am actually a whale and dolphin scientist.
Oh my goodness, how fantastic.
I do research on dolphins and whales. Which
That
brings
is
me,
just wonderful.
thank you.
Where does it bring
Uh,
you?
It brings me to islands in Indonesia where I do surveys of the whales and dolphins from the boat. My PhD was looking at the how the tour boats impacting the dolphins, because in
Yeah.
Indonesia, in Bali especially, in North Bali, there is a village of dolphin watching tourism, and then because it's quite famous, then many people are going there to chase the dolphins to take photos, and it's very hurting the dolphins. But also I did research on the whale hunting in Indonesia before.
Mhm.
Because they do whale hunting traditionally.
Yeah.
That has ecological side, but also has social sides because it's their cultural pride. And it's quite
Yeah.
difficult to balance the two of them. And
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I love Star Trek, if I bring it back, is just because of this respect to every culture, which is in real world is very difficult to balance actually.
Yeah, it is. It is,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the Indonesian cultural the whale hunting is that very similar to the Canadian First Nation?
Yes. They're not using high-tech tools. They're actually using harpoons. But they
Right.
have actually attached motors like engines on their boats, which actually then becomes, is this traditional or this is not traditional? So
Okay.
the discussion
okay.
then
'Cause-
becomes what is traditional?
Right, because I was under the impression that the Inuit and various other tribes up in the Arctic Circle also just used harpoons.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they're sneaking in a few modern bits and pieces to make their lives easier. But it's nothing on the scale of some of the Japanese overfishing, for example. And
Yeah.
I know that the Norwegians quite like to fish on quite a big scale.
Yeah.
And what can we do? What is it? Is it? Do we need to try and put pressure on some of these governments to fish less, or is there other things we can do?
Actually, although whaling is an issue, and it will always be an issue. So I understand Japan because I love that countries, and I'm learning Japanese, so I understand the culture. Their habit of eating meat, a whale meat, is actually shrinking. The
Right.
current generation doesn't really like it anymore. So I suspect that in the future, maybe like in
It'll
20 years,
disappear.
it will,
So the pressure is working. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know about the Norwegian one. But what we can do actually for the whales in general and dolphins and sharks is actually to use less plastic, which brings
Yeah.
me to another point, which is very difficult now with the COVID situation, because we are using takeaways, plastics, and masks. Yeah, so I am very concerned with the way we are actually using plastics and masks these days. I read a Scientific American article that the amount of masks that we're using for this lockdown, when we stitch them together, it can cover the whole Switzerland in 1 year.
Wow.
So it's the
okay.
So well, and I'm sure it's actually now much more.
Much more.
Much more. I'm sure it's just like a tepid calculation. So I'm quite worried. I do a lot of with my friends in Indonesia. We often have dead whales ashore, or dead dolphins, and we would do necropsy. We would cut them open to see why they. Some of them actually have plastics. A lot of plastics. Rubber sandals, bottles inside of them, and these days I'm sure that they will have masks as well. And fishing lines, they have fishing lines as well. The last whale that we cut, my friend cut, well, necropsy, it has this many fishing lines inside of the tummy. That's why.
My word. So tell me, what is it you love about whales or dolphins? What I mean, they're both very different, but what is it that drew you to them, and what is it that keeps you working for them? It's like a vocation for you now.
They are the closest I see them as sentinels. I see them as sentinels, not just animals. They're mammals like us. They give birth. They nurture their child. And they are very. Some of them can have very socially strongly knitted societies, like the killer whales in Canada, for instance. They would actually have pods of just grandmas and all their families that would travel everywhere together, and the grandma would be the leader until the grandma died.
Wow.
Sometimes there was a case in one aquarium somewhere, I forgot, that a whale mother, a dolphin mother of a different species was put together with a dolphin child, a dolphin, we call them calf, of another species. So they both lost their mom, and they both lost their family. And the mother actually adopted this dolphin, this little baby, but they are of a different species.
Wow.
So it's so those things, and they're very smart. Their brain is actually quite big compared to their and just like many animals, they don't destroy the nature. It reminds me of your character, the beloved Dr. Bashir, saying to Cisco, when they actually stranded in the past and coming back, and they're like, how did they make it so bad? How did they do it so bad? And Cisco just said, I have no idea. And I honestly think, are we ever going to be a better species ever?
Gosh, I hope so. I really do, Icha, because I think we are eyes open, walking towards something into a fire. We know that we're doing this, and when a 15-year-old girl, I guess, or 14, when I think she first started, Greta Thunberg, is forced into a situation where she has to cry so loud that she goes around the world and bullies politicians, then we should be ashamed of ourselves as adults.
And then she's bullied back because she actually speaks loud.
Of course she is. She's bullied all the time. But that's where we're at, and I'm not quite sure. Apart from what you suggest, which is making sure that as individuals we take care of plastic, for example, we can't eradicate it from our lives, but we can be very economical with it. And then maybe, because it's the people who have no money. I mean, we're the ones who have the best chance of doing something. The people who have very little and have no choice but to use plastic, we've got to try and help them over in the future, but not blame them today. It's like the big argument over carbon and pollution and fossil fuels, is the poorer countries who trying to catch up are the ones being penalized for the work that the big countries have done, and they need to catch up. They need to be able to catch. So we have to find a way to let them use. I'm sure that we can find a way to let them use fossil fuels to at least provide cheaper economic power for their populations, while we do pay for it. So these are the things the G7 is supposed to be discussing.
My time is almost over, but I just want to say there's one more thing that I am burning to ask you. Is that okay?
Yes, of course.
And this is about me just finishing the S9, and one day I will get over it, but I am still sad over your character not ending up with Jadzia. So that was years ago. And because I just finished it last month, I'm still in the denial thing. So I guess if things could actually be done your way, do you think that Julian and Jadzia, because I think that Julian is actually straight. He actually likes chasing skirt until Jadzia arrives. And I think they actually have very beautiful friendship. I mean, their friendship was actually very palpable to me.
Yeah.
So do you think that these two characters could actually make it work if actually given the chance? If you really
I don't know. What I really like, I mean, I'm not sure about Jadzia. I mean, about Bashir's sexuality. I think he was probably a bit more liquid. Liquid.
True.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah.
But,
liquid is a good word.
I think there's a beauty to unrequited love. I think there's a beauty to forced friendship, to not possess a thing, and I think in a funny way, love creates a kind of possession, and which is not an unhealthy possession, but it is still something. It's yours, and Jadzia could never be Bashir's, and I think that was I think there's something really cool about that for life. I think there's people who will just never be yours, and that's great, and they can be in your sphere, but you can't. They don't become entrapped by your whatever, your guile, your ability to seduce. So I think that I like the fact that that Jadzia was always kind of beyond Bashir's reach is kind of good lesson. I think it's a very interesting place that he ended up, and wherever he is now, whatever universe he's in now, is also interesting to me, because I think it'll be much more ambiguous and grey and not so obvious. And some of the people in this club have written lovely pieces about, they've written sequels to Bashir's life, and from various different angles and points of view, and they've been fascinating to play, because they all kind of exist. In one, Bashir and Garak end up together, which is really charming, and in another, Bashir is still working his socks off as a Starfleet doctor, and hasn't really changed, but is just in his 50s now. And others have him in various other places, and it's all. I think that's really one of the things that I like about him. He's still kind of a blank page. You can still work a lot with him. You still can, he's very plausible in lots of different scenarios, and that's really cool. But thanks, Icha. Thank you very much for coming on, and thanks for talking about all this. And we should have talked more about dolphins and whales, but
I'm sorry.
No, it's so fascinating.
Next time I'll just talk about whales and dolphins.
We'll do that.
I can show you photos of the whole plastics, etc., inside the whales and dolphins.
That would be so good. That would be so good, with a human voice telling us instead of just in a magazine or an internet page. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sid. I really
Thanks, Icha. You're very welcome. Bye.
I'm still here, but as you know, thank you.
Me too. It's always very awkward. It's like, bye. See ya then.
No, you hang up. No, you hang up. All right, we're gonna go talk to Jenna.
Hello.
Here you are.
Hi, Jenna.
I'm here.
Good to see you again. I'm pretty sure we've talked before.
Yes, we did. I think it was.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remarked on the incredible window behind you.
Yes, you remember my windows.
I do.
That's why I told you, I was like, I should do a virtual background. He's got to see the windows.
Yeah, I like seeing the windows. You have such a beautiful kind of palatial looking room. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm so, like, I love hearing your stories about being in Thailand and Australia and stuff. It's just like,
Oh yeah, I'm so lucky, you know, because I'm here. I mean, no one else can travel, and you can't even Australians can't go to Australia.
I can't even go to Canada. I live like an hour from the border.
Oh God. Yeah, it's all kicking off again, isn't it? The Delta variant plus blah, 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 blah. I hope the rest of everybody gets vaccinated ASAP.
Thankfully, because I'm in Western New York, and it seems almost like things are normal here, because I don't think the Delta variant's really over here, and the vaccination rate's very high. So like pretty much everything's no masks. And
yeah,
I got to go to Six Flags a few days ago, and it was like, this seems so normal, riding roller coasters. And yeah.
Fantastic. How are you? What do you love roller coasters? Do you go by yourself, with friends? Do you take kids? How did that work?
I usually go with friends. Yeah, I was with a friend of mine.
That's fantastic. That's really cool. So what's going on in your world? What's been going on since we last talked?
Not much. Trying to start planning things again. And
are you planning
hopefully
things on the work front, or where are the plans leading you? What sort of plans?
Well, like travel plans, because we talked about my international travels last time, and like I was supposed to go to China the last year, and then I was supposed to go this year, and now it's been pushed to next year.
So you're planning to get to finally get to China in 2022, and in the interim, how are you going to assuage your thirst for travel?
Well, I'm just going to do some domestic stuff. Like, the one good thing about moving China was it makes it so I can go to my friend's wedding in Minneapolis, which is good.
That's for sure. Absolutely.
So it opens me up for that, because I've been friends with him since kindergarten. So I wanted to be there for that. Yeah.
Great.
So I'm excited about that. And then there's like a Star Trek convention in New Jersey that it opens it up to, that I can go to now, and like a couple other odd little cons and things. So I'm just going to do stuff like that domestically. And
are the cons going to be, what's the deal with the cons? Is there any news about how they're going to be run? Is it what's going on? I know the big Vegas one is going ahead in August.
Yeah, well, the New Jersey one's run by the same people who did the Vegas.
Okay.
They haven't really said. I think they're waiting till closer. It sounds like it's going to be, if you're not vaccinated, they want you to wear masks.
Sure.
But that otherwise you can be maskless, and they might try to, I did read, I think for Vegas, that they're going to do the photo ops differently, but I don't think they got into specifics. But
so it's very problematic to me to say, if you're not vaccinated, you have to wear a mask, because I just don't see people fessing up to that. It's kind
I was going to say, they don't ask for proof, so it's all honor system.
Yeah,
bothers
and
me.
I think they should just say, look, everyone just wear a mask, and that way we don't point out the people who haven't been vaccinated yet, and it doesn't create a kind of problem. But yeah, I understand it's a tricky thing. That it's a very interesting philosophical problem, isn't it? Because we know we don't like discriminating, and yet this is a very unusual situation, and God, it's really complicated in my head. It's sort of slightly brain explosion time when you start thinking about, the ethics of the whole thing. And I hear all the arguments about, you're really irresponsible for not getting vaccinated. And then I hear all the arguments about, well, my freedom is really important, my ability to choose for myself. Yeah. And it all gets very quagmiry and problematic.
Before, just real quick, because I sent Mel some pictures, because you had wanted a presentation of my trips, but obviously you can't do that. So I sent her a few photos.
Oh my goodness, there you are in Egypt. Yes.
Yep, my mom.
Oh wow!
Pyramids.
How beautiful!
So yeah,
that's fantastic.
And this is another one you should be able to see, recognize.
You really have been around, haven't you? You are so lucky.
Well, with that one, what's cool is, because imagine at some point you've been to Stonehenge. They keep you on a path like well outside of it. I got to get in the center.
I was about to say, they have a fence now. Yeah, you're not allowed to get close to it anymore. How did you get in?
I had to pay for a special tour that went after hours, that then opened it up and let us in with security guards watching us like absolute hawks. But I got to go into the middle of it. And for the most, you usually kept a big distance away. You can kind of see the path in the background behind all the stones as to where you normally
Yeah.
So that was a treat for myself to go in the middle of it.
Oh, wow.
So okay, now this this is from South Korea. This is a lantern festival in Jeonju that is mind-blowingly incredible. And the part that I have pictured here, because it's in the midst of like an old fortress from like the Middle Ages. Now, Korea and Japan, they fought each other a lot back in the day. Well, the Japanese typically beat the Koreans. Well, this was a situation where like their army, they were massively outnumbered. They somehow beat the Japanese and won here.
Wow.
Which is amazing. So they kind of celebrate with this lantern festival. And what they do, part of the festival, and this is what I pictured, is they have a recreation of the fortress. And like, this is a recreation of the battle. And these lanterns are all life-sized to be like people.
Oh my goodness.
And in it, they have like, you know, people training and the women doing the laundry and the food. And then there's other sorts of areas with like fairy tales and animals and Disney things out in the water. But the coolest part was this, and even on the actual fortress walls, they had like lantern guards along the whole friggin' thing.
They are so beautiful.
It was so incredible.
God, even like wounded warriors falling over, like the guy at the bottom of the foreground here, he's obviously tripped and hurt himself.
Yeah, it's
Probably
so if
not,
you're ever
but, you know.
South Korea in like the first 3 weeks of October, I think it is, go to the Ginger Lantern Festival because it was so incredible.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
And then this is in Portugal in a town called Sintra. This is a Moorish castle from back in, I think, the 1200s.
Beautiful. Gosh, look at that.
Yeah, Sintra's a really cool place. It's most people do like a day trip from Lisbon to it.
Yeah.
I spent like 3 days there because there's just so many cool things.
So much to do and see.
Yeah, like so I spent there's a good 3 days worth.
There, that just look at that.
Of stuff.
Every one of those stones had to be put there by someone.
I know, and
That's
that's
just
only, like, a portion of
mind-boggling
it.
to me. Yeah, it's like the
It's-
Great Wall in China, which is like wow.
Yeah, which hopefully I will see next year.
Which that reminds me of it actually.
Yeah. And then just literally from just down the road from that, well, up the road from that Moorish castle is this palace from the 1800s, I think it is, Pina Palace.
Wow.
So it's just crazy because I literally took a bus up, went and toured this and toured the grounds, which this picture was taken from further out in the grounds. And then like I just kind of went out the gates, walked down the road a little bit, and there was that Moorish castle to go check out.
It's beautiful. That's really beautiful.
So
That's
yeah, that place
amazing, isn't it?
gorgeous. And it's one of those places like most people have never heard of Sintra, and it was so cool.
Yeah, expensive to heat. But I guess in Portugal we're fine.
Yes.
That's amazing.
So that's just a small taste of. some
Oh,
stuff
that
about
was
you, but-
really sweet. Thank you, Jenna. That was just wonderful to see. That was amazing. You really have been around. Wonderful. Jenna, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thanks for coming good with the photographs. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Thank
I thought
you.
I could quick grab a few.
Thanks, Jenna.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm back.
You're back.
Don't talk about me.
We were not talking about you.
Good. I tested positive for attitude.
I could have told him that. Sid, I'm going to show you something that you cannot tell Colin about, okay?
Okay, I'm going to put some glasses
Put your
on.
glasses.
Hang on. It's too late in the morning for Colin.
Yes, he's already gone to bed, so because
Yeah.
he and Rob Moriarty are meeting up tomorrow to watch England.
To watch the
versus
football. So I
somebody.
heard. Yeah.
So this is what Shannon has made for him for his birthday.
Wow. Shannon, that's amazing. Shannon, Melbourne Shannon.
Yep.
One and a yes.
Fantastic. Oh, that's so cool. He will love that. It's even got Colin's smirk, trademark smirk.
And then Elmi has designed a custom box for it.
Oh, well, Elmi always designs things like that. That's brilliant.
Yes, he's going to flip out that he has his very own.
He
action
does have his very own figurine. That's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
great.
And so we're going to go ahead and take off. So thanks everybody for joining us.